80, recorded September 4th, 2024. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Up for Debate. I'm Sean Jennings, joined as always by the Hut Hike Man himself, the original fantasy character, Mr. Matt Mariani. Hello, Matt.
Hello there, Sean. I know it's Shaun-tember, but we're pulling a little bit of an audible here today on today's show.
I'm so excited, Matt. Honestly, that this is that we're doing this tonight live. If you're
Mhm.
watching at twitch.tv/Up for Debate TV, I'm a big fantasy football head. You play fantasy as well. And Matt, we were going to do our episode on T tonight as we teased last week. And you said, Sean, we can't. I have a problem. I forgot my fantasy football draft is tonight. And I said, Matt, how about I insert myself since it's my month? And let's do it live on the show. And you reluctantly agreed? Question mark.
Yeah, no, I mean, not so reluctantly. I think I usually get kind of stressed during the draft. So having a companion here, having a co pilot through it, I think will be a lot of fun.
It's truly my honor.
Yeah, and we're gonna do tea next week. That's a promise. That's a promise. We're gonna do our tea review after this.
Yes, I have the carafes. I bought all the tea. It is going to happen.
Indeed. Now we have about approximately 5 minutes and counting before the draft starts. So, um, Sean, what previous experience do you have with fantasy football? Tell me what you know. What are some like? Give me a little bit about your background first, and then maybe like do's and don'ts for your draft.
Yeah, some of my early tips here. I had done I've done a ton of like FanDuel weekly fantasy. When it comes to the full season stuff, I did it 2 seasons a while ago. I wasn't very good, didn't pay a lot of attention, wasn't really into it. Last year was the first year I really went whole hog, focused aggressively. I had more waiver moves than anyone else in the league. Um, and gosh darn, I didn't end with the best record, but I did win the whole thing. I am the reigning champion from last year. I'm back in that league, just one league this year. Already drafted that team. If we have time, maybe we can talk through some of those highlights of that team. But I am into it. I'm excited. I started mock drafting over a month ago. I know these players well, and I think we're going to do some great work for you, Matt. What about you?
Yeah, so I've been pretty active with fantasy football since I was like a wee child. I remember like really going back all the way. I was young when I first kind of started getting into it, but I've been doing it pretty consistently um since I was probably like 13, 14, something like that. And last year was the very first year that I was crowned champion of my league, with the best record and the eventual champion playoff victory. Um, so that's the second time that I've won a league championship in my life. But this is the longest standing league that I've been in.
Okay.
Been playing with these folks since 2014, 2015, something around there. And yeah, it's been fun. But this is the first time I won in that league. This particular league was last year. My team name, as you'll see in a minute. Sean, how do you name your teams? Do you have a particular convention that you use? What's your every coach has their own take on it.
Yeah, and I have a very specific rule. I hate
Sorry.
team names where I don't know who you are by your team name. It drives me crazy. I get the puns on the players' names. We all love Bed Bath and Beyond, all right? I get it, all right? We've done it. I always try and get my name to be more about myself and my team than about the players. This year, I'm Mr. Shenning's Wild Ride. Last year, I was Fantasy Master, it was a company pool at my company, Fasten Master. So I was Fantasy Master. And so that's usually my rules. I try to do it that way. I wanted to name, so I'm on St. Brown on my team, and I thought it would be very funny to do St. Brown versus St. Board of Education, but I figured that might be a little touchy, so I left that one alone.
Interesting, Sean. I have the exact opposite approach. So we might actually disagree about something on Up for Debate. So I personally I always try to do my team names based on strictly based on players that I have and fun puns along with their name. Hence my team name from last year, Hail Slayton, named after Darius Slayton of the New York Giants. So um
So, sorry, Matt, I don't mean to interrupt you.
yeah,
Literally,
yeah.
those watching
So,
the video, my mother is a big fantasy football fan.
nice.
She's co-managing my team this year because she loves it.
Nice.
And when I told her we were doing it, she's literally listening in. I sent her the
Okay.
Twitch link if she wants to watch along. Um, and she said
Great.
if we get any really hard choices, we can message her and she'll help
That's
out.
tough. Yeah, I never really know what I'm doing. I feel like every year the names change, people are added and taken away. So yeah, I'll appreciate any help that your mom can give us today would be much appreciated here.
We're set up
Um
well now. Matt, can you get the draft up on screen here? So for the
I can.
folks
We've got about 45 seconds left.
watching the video version
So
are going to see along as we do this. We're going to be doing this. This is a real draft. This is happening in real time. Matt, you have the second pick, so we've got to start making some discussions
we are
uh,
making
quickly.
Up for Debate history here. First ever televised NFL draft. Yeah, we need to decide here. Who's our first pick in this draft
Well,
going to be?
do you have an early strategy you're going after, or have you given
I'm
it any thought?
I'm a running back receivers guy early.
Okay.
I'll give it. I'll wait a little while before I start going with like quarterbacks.
Jesus,
Um,
did my computer make that sound?
no, that was the 10-second warning sound.
Okay.
Here we
Can
go, Sean.
uh, what the
All right, I'll try to
okay.
turn the sounds
Yeah,
off.
there's a speaker. Please, for the love. That was so. Matt, I cannot tell you how loud. I felt like I got electrocuted.
Sorry about that. I muted the sounds.
Um,
So all right, Christian McCaffrey has gone off the board
he's
first
gone.
round.
You got some great
Tyreek Hill
options
was
here.
my champion last year. He was my hero. He's the one that brought me to the promised land, Sean. I think I might have to take him again. What do you think?
My default pick would be CD Lamb for this. But I don't think you're going to go wrong with Tyreek Hill, to be honest. And if you feel a connection, you got to feel good about the players you draft. So
I'm taking him. I locked him in.
I love it. This is great. It's not so we got a little bit of time, 16 picks till your next turn. Matt, let me ask you, is there anything you don't have to reveal all the secrets? Anything we should know about this league? Now, this is a 10, I see a 10-person league. Is this PPR?
It is a 10-person league. It is a a PPR league. Oh no, it is not. It is not a PPR league.
Standard.
It was standard. It was, I think, at one point we changed back. Yeah. Not PPR. So we don't have those like crazy like 1,000, 2,000 point scores that you see with like a PPR league. It's a standard league. Um, yeah. Now I'm seeing who's gone off the board here. We've lost CD Lamb is off, Bijan, Brees Hall.
Yeah, I would say no surprises yet. We've got a few. I will say you got a pretty good turnout for your draft tonight. Only one or two auto drafts happening right now. Most of the players are here, which is good. Now, Matt, when you think about the whole league of players, is there any one or two players that float to the top of like, God, I would die to have that guy on my team?
Honestly, for me, it would have been Tyreek Hill because he really beasted out last year.
That's awesome.
He
That's
did.
awesome.
He really did work for me. I remember like I guess the last one I really remember having that kind of approach to from for me was Alvin Kamara, but he's not. I don't think he's what he used to be. Now, see, I was gonna
No.
go for Amon Ra next, and he just got taken.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, you got a ways to go here. One thing I like,
Yeah,
there's a box there that says show drafted. If you uncheck that, it'll hide all the players who've already been taken.
yeah.
And if you scroll down, they'll estimate about where you're going to pick. And so if you keep going, you got a ways to keep going, keep going, keep going. There you go. There's pick number 2. So your second pick is going to be right near that line.
Sean, I've actually never noticed that. I've never paid attention to what that meant. So
Matt, I did so many mock drafts, you have no idea. I was a student of the game.
So there goes AJ Brown of the
Yep.
Eagles.
Yeah, we're gonna move down. So now, Matt, I when I'm filling a team, I agree. It's wide receivers, it's running backs. You can wait on the other guys, and you're gonna have a nice mix of picks around your number two. There's some good guys. We're still going to be on the board. Um, are you leaning one way or the other? Running back, wide receiver? You're just going to take best available.
I really could go either way. Yeah, for me, it's best available. I'm still on receiver, running back, and I probably will be until maybe the fourth or fifth round. Maybe I might switch over to a tight end or a quarterback at that point. Um, I don't know. I just feel like the game has changed. I think that that receiver running back core is so much more critical than the quarterback. Than and it
It's where
used to
your
be the
points are.
quarterback. Used to be that
Now,
the quarterback used to be everything, but
let me, if you could do me a favor, Matt, on the screen, up in the top right next to my Q, there's a little arrow.
okay.
If you click that, and no, the arrow to the left.
This one.
Yep. Yep. There you go. Now we see your team a little bit more. So I'm looking at your line. It's a two wide receiver, two running back league. If you scroll down, how big is your bench? How far are we drafting tonight?
So it's pretty
You've got
deep.
six bench.
We got
My
a
league's a
6-man
four.
bench.
So we're going to be going pretty deep tonight. That's very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Saquon Barkley, Jameer Gibbs off the board. Some great picks for
Always
these other
Pacheco
teams.
and the Puka Nakua, of course.
Pacheco jumped up quite a bit. That's kind of an early grab on him, but he's going to be fantastic in Kansas City. 2 picks till your turn, Matt. If you want to scroll up to the top of the
Yeah.
available players list, we'll see who's going to be around.
So Kyron Williams, I think he's kind of at the top of my list. What do you think about that?
He's
He's
on my fantasy team. I think he's going to have a great year.
okay.
And I probably, the thing is, I feel this is a running back light draft. There's so many receivers and not a lot of top tier running backs. And I think if you take a wide receiver here, you're going to regret it. Now, of course, the guy above you here could take Kyron Williams, and in which case you're probably going to take one of these great receivers. But you can't go too far without getting a running back.
Yeah. So if Williams is gone, which receiver are you looking at? I know I kind of have my pick here, looking at these several ones, but what would you say?
I like Mike Evans.
Okay.
Drake London's very talented, but Kirk's kind of up in the air. Devontae Adams is getting a little older, and Las Vegas. And there you go. Kyron Williams is gone. So
Yep.
I would say, in my position, you got Mike Evans, who I think is good, who's never had a season under 1,000 yards. I would also say, though, I think Nico Collins. You're sliding down a little bit farther, but Nico Collins is very talented. The thing is, Matt, you actually you're picking here, and then you're going in 3 picks. So you could back to back right here.
I could. So maybe I'll take someone a little bit higher, like an Evans
I think Mike
Williams.
Evans is a dynamite
Evans is a great
pickup.
pick. Evans is a great pick.
He's
I think
never.
that's
It's been like
really good
11
Evans.
straight seasons with 1,000 yards.
Also Cooper Kupp. What do you think? Kupp,
Well, but the
Collins?
thing is, again, one team picks twice between now and then. Are they going to take 2 wide receivers? I don't know. You're probably going to get a pick of a lot of these guys.
Okay. I'm gonna go Evans or Kupp. I'm feeling kind of strong about Kupp.
It's your draft, Matt. I want to stress that. I'll give my opinion, but it's your team, and you got to like your players.
I'm gonna go Kupp. No,
Go for it.
I'm gonna go Evans.
Go for it.
No, I'm gonna go Kupp.
I think Cup has a higher ceiling, but it's a bigger gamble. All right, he's a gambler. He's a gambler. I just
realized, Sean, that Kupp and Hill have the same bye week.
You are a fool, and you should be listening to me more.
Great.
But hey, you got another pick coming up really
Evans
quick
is
here.
Still on the board, and so is Collins.
Well, but I'm going to have you scroll down a little bit, right? So you have 2 wide receivers. You got to think about running back. Davon Achane is a talented running back.
He is. I actually had him last year.
He's fast. Now, again, it would be one more player with a bye week of 6 if you really want to do that.
Same team as Tyreek Hill, yeah.
Right. So I like Nico Collins here. I think is very talented. Mike Evans is very talented. But if you're worried about running backs, Achane's going to be a great option. If you scroll down, it's going to tell you about who's going to be available at your next pick, and it'll be a while down. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. Keep going. Let's see here who's still going to be around. Keep going. Keep going.
Should I
keep going? No, keep going. It'll eventually get to your next pick.
I lost my screen here.
Oh no. This is the worst time for technical difficulties.
Don't know what happened there. It looks like I'm still here, but I don't know. The clock
Oh
is
my gosh.
doing weird things. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, good, good. That was I don't like that. Okay.
No, that was unpleasant. Yeah, so you're going to look at you're kind of in that Pittman, Waddle, Joe Mixon range.
Should I organize it so that it's by position? Should
Malik
I like
Neighbors. I don't know that you need. Oh, see, now you're on the
on
clock.
the board?
Honestly, Matt, you're going to want to take the best available here. I think you would be very good in taking. Oh, who did he take? He took
A
A
chain.
Chain.
Took a chain. Yep.
Wow, 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 wow.
Was that your pick?
That's I would have really I would have picked A Chain. I have him on my team.
He's wild.
But I think you're just going to have to gamble at running back here and potentially go for Nico Collins or Mike Evans. Oh, Mike Evans was taken as well. Jeez.
Yeah, that was a 1-2 punch right here. We've got I think for my money here, it looks like Collins is probably the best pick available.
I love Nico Collins. I think he's going to have a
Yeah,
great season.
that I'm gonna be a receiver heavy team, but I think
Well,
he's
yeah,
gonna have a good
next
season.
turn you're going to have to double down on
I'm
a
gonna
running back for
I'm
sure.
gonna lock in on Nico Collins. I think.
Love it.
All right, there we go. Nico
That's a
Collins
great pick.
drafted.
That's a great receiver. Listen, you got Hill, you got Cup, you got Nico Collins. That's a great receiver room.
It is. It is. So we've got some downtime here until my next pick. We'll set it up, I guess, so we go running back.
Yeah, I think you don't have much of a choice here. Looking at who's available, Joe Mixon, very good. James Cook, Rashad White, Kenneth Walker, all starters, all first on their depth charts. I think it's a pretty good mix there.
It is. See, it's a family event here, Shaun. I'm texting my dad and my sister my picks because you got to keep them updated. Just like your mom's tuning in and watching the draft. It's a celebration. It's
Yeah,
like
well,
a
if you want, let your
holiday.
family know. Twitch.tv/Up for Debate TV. They can watch along.
That's right. So there goes Brandon Ayuk. Ayuk
Yep.
just went off the board.
I actually had, Matt, this will interest you. I had my first trade proposal in my league.
Oh.
The they wanted from me Kyron Williams, and I threw in Raheem Shaheed in exchange for Ayuk and Kenneth Walker. It's a great trade for me, but I haven't yet gotten them to pull the trigger.
That's a solid trade. I like Kenneth Walker. I think he's got some great upside this year in Seattle.
I will say, Matt, my mother said she wanted you to take Brandon Ayuk with instead of Collins.
Mm-hmm. Instead of
Unfortunately, she sent it after you made the pick. So
no, I think that's fair. I mean, he just got paid, so he's feeling good. He's got a great quarterback.
He's super talented.
San Francisco. I would agree. I think that Ayuk would have been a good pick there.
Well, the problem with Nico Collins is they got three great receivers there because they got Diggs and they have Tank Dell. So you don't know who's going to be the number one guy.
He's possibly going to split time. Yeah, you don't know who's going to emerge as the number one, but they've got Strawn, or the quarterback of the future.
Yeah, man, that team's off the dang charts.
They're going to go places this year.
So we have our first quarterback off the board here, Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, okay. And Sam Laporta, our first tight end, I think.
No, someone must have taken Travis Kelce. Maybe not.
I didn't see him go. No, I think
that's surprising.
That first tight end, yeah. I think
usually Kelsey's the first, but
Kelsey's
wow,
up for grabs. Should I take Kelsey? He's also got a bye 6 week. Wow.
Yeah, I think it would be
influence as much. I just might have a crappy week 6, and
and you just take the loss and crush every other week.
Nope, there goes Travis Kelce.
There he goes.
Forget that. Yeah. Anyway, back to running backs. I'm leaning more here toward possibly Kenneth Walker.
I like Kenneth Walker. He's a little older, had a lot of injuries last year, but if he stays healthy, that offense loves to run.
I mean, I think Cook is also a good option.
Cook is a good option, and I would not sleep on Rashad White. He has a lot of buzz heading into this year. Um, he was great last year, just under 1,000 yards with 9 touchdowns. Um, an interesting option. He does a little bit of receiving as well, so I don't think he would be a bad pick either.
Yeah, I think my dad agrees here. He thinks I should have taken a running back last round over instead of Collins. Jalen Hurts
Yeah,
board. That hurts.
yeah. Sorry,
That hurts.
he
That's
wasn't going to last. I
My Philly pride.
Yes, my mother strongly suggested, made me take Lamar Jackson a little earlier than I wanted.
I mean, that is a deadly
He
pick.
he's a talented guy, but for
He's a
me,
high scoring quarterback.
my
You can get it
strategy was
done.
to hit that second tier of quarterback. I think a Jordan Love, a Dak Prescott. They're
Yeah.
not the top guys, but they're solid, and they'll complement the top receivers and running backs you got.
Well, what we all like about Lamar is that he can get it done on the air and on the ground. He's got talent both ways, and that scores you. That's twice as many scoring opportunities. And there he goes, Lamar Jackson,
And then Mahomes right after him.
right after. So some
Bit
great
of a run
quarterback,
here.
run of great quarterbacks. There goes Joe Mixon off the board. I think I'm leaning Walker if nobody takes him. He's kind of my top pick right now.
It's a solid one. They don't I don't even know who their second running back is there. I mean, he's really the guy.
I like that. I like to have somebody that's got like no comp like he's, kind of the bell cow as they say. So I think realistically I think I'll get him here. I don't think he's going to go, but who knows.
Now, Matt, because
Mhm.
you're picking ninth out of 10, or second, I'm sorry, you pick second. So you have these close, almost back to back picks. So if
Mhm.
you take a running back here, you got to start thinking, what are you going to do after that?
Yes.
Do you try for another running back? There's some interesting names here. I see James Conner. I see Ramondre Stevenson, Zamir White. Do you go start thinking QB or tight end? Or is it
Yeah.
too early for that?
I'm going to just take a glance at the tight end list here. Stroud, I called him Strom earlier. I don't know why, but Stroud is on the board. He's an interesting choice. And I've got Collins, so I've got the connection there. What do you think about that? Taking CJ Stroud?
A quarterback is more important than a tight end.
Yeah,
So I think, and you have again, because you're picking so close, you have a long gap
yeah.
where you're going to have to wait. And I think if you're going to run on these QBs and you're stuck with, you know, God
Okay.
bless some of these guys, I think
I'm on
that
the
would be a
board.
mistake.
Do you think I should jump for Stroud now, or should I secure my running back?
No, because the same guy has the next two picks. He can only take one. He's only going to take one quarterback if he takes one,
That's
and you
true.
got to gamble it's not going to be him. I think the running back's more important.
Agreed. Kenneth Walker, welcome aboard.
And I will say the mom vote just said love Stroud.
Nice. Yeah,
You
he's my
got
next
you
pick.
got mom support.
Good. I want that. I want that support. Any support, but especially Sean's mom's support, worth double, worth
Listen,
triple. Yeah.
she she mainly does the FanDuel weekly fantasy. She has won every year we've ever done it. She's blown the rest of the family out of the water. It's incredible. All right, Matt, you're back on the clock.
Back on the board, we still have our QB. Our guy took two receivers
I
back
think
to
you
back.
should take Stroud. I love that.
Stroud. Yep. Let's get Stroud. Welcome aboard.
Outstanding.
I'm liking
Outstanding.
this pick so far. I'm liking the our picks. I'm
It's a
liking our
good team.
choices.
It's a good team. And now again, we got a little bit of a gap here. Matt, would you be interested to hear who is on my fantasy team?
Yeah, we've got some time, so let me hear your
We'll take a little
your
break.
thoughts.
It's a 12 player league with guys I work with. It's a PPR format. I picked eighth, and I have the following team: Lamar Jackson. I've got Amon-Ra St. Brown and Terry McLaurin as sort of my starting wide receivers.
All great so far. Yep.
I've got
Terry McLaurin. Okay.
Kyron Williams and
Uh-huh.
Davon A. Chain as my starting running backs.
Okay. Both really great picks.
Jake Ferguson at tight end for Dallas.
Okay.
who I'm
Williams on
actually
down.
pretty excited about because after CD Lamb, I think he's going to be Dak's second option.
I always have mixed. I got mixed feelings about taking anybody from that team, but
I don't disagree. He's my only one, thank goodness.
mhm.
Um, I've got James Conner at running back, who I'm excited about. He's a hardworking guy. He's number one. He's going to put up some yards. I've got, and then getting into kind of my bench, Zamir White in Las Vegas. Young guy, but I'm excited. He's got upside. Christian Kirk, wide receiver for Jacksonville, he's got upside. Rashid Shaheed for New Orleans, and
Mhm.
Keon Coleman, the rookie for Buffalo. We only do a 4-person bench in our league. I've got Evan McPherson for Cincinnati as my kicker and the Pittsburgh defense.
Solid, all solid pick. Shaun, I if you don't make it into the playoffs or at least into the playoffs, but I think that to me that's a league winning roster right there. That's
Uh,
I've got high
I,
hopes for
I
you.
feel good. I feel
Yeah,
good.
it's
I
solid
I
pick.
think that's why this Kyron Williams trade is interesting to me
Hmm.
because I feel I'm soft at wide receiver, and if I could get back Kenneth Walker, who's a good, not as good as Kyron Williams, but he's still pretty damn good. Plus Ayuk,
Hmm.
that's a damn good
That really
trade.
is. Yeah.
Um, I just don't know if the guy's a big enough sucker to take it, and he didn't watch the show, so I can
We'll
say
find
that.
out. I'm gonna need an update on that. Yeah,
I will.
I was also gonna say make sure he's not a fan of the show
No.
before
Thankfully, he
telling
doesn't
me
know
the
it
details out
exists.
here.
Yeah, Matt, we might have to have like a fantasy corner between football and the movie league.
Yeah.
We might have to do some fantasy updates.
Yeah, Shaun, I had no idea that you were this much of a drafting pro. I've never done a mock draft in my entire life. I've been playing for a really long time, but I just go in cold. I used to buy the classic like magazine. There's like a
Yeah,
draft. There was like a magazine that you would buy in like in the stores, and it would just be like the NF. It was like the draft edition, fantasy draft edition. It would come out like a week before the official draft season started, and I would just kind of mull over that. That was before the days of like live injury updates and things like that. So you would draft, and then the league that I was in, there was a gentleman's rule of like if a player is injured, like they would disclose the injury if in case somebody didn't know. And
yeah.
that was way back in the day. I was in like middle school, so but nowadays you got there's no way you don't know those things. Um,
I had a group of random roommates in college who were huge baseball fantasy guys.
hmm,
They did an in-person draft with a giant board, and they
wow,
did it physically in person, and it was impressive to watch. Because they just knew all their shit. Like they weren't even like looking stuff up. They just knew what they wanted.
of course.
And we're doing it in person. So that's impressive.
That is. That's real dedication. I've always wanted to do I haven't done an in-person draft in a really long time. I've always wanted to do one that's like a big deal kind of thing with like the board and the some people rent like,
Oh
uh
yeah.
space, they rent like space out to do it and
They do
stuff.
trips. I read an article. There are
Yeah.
hotels
Yep.
specifically creating packages for fantasy drafts.
Mhm.
Absolutely crazy. That would drive. I don't think I could do it. I'm researching, I'm Googling, I'm checking stuff. Like I'm way too
Yeah.
on the computer. I don't
No,
know if I'd be any fun.
at the end of the day, I don't think yeah, I think it would mostly be what I do at home anyway, but not in the comfort of my home. So maybe the virtual draft is for the best. I've heard of people doing that for D&D though. I
Oh,
think they do
yeah,
like a
absolutely.
little D&D trip. Like, I know somebody. She and her friends like they rented an Airbnb and just kind of like pooled their money together, rented this Airbnb, and hired a chef. Like a chef came and like cooked for them for like it was their I think it was the final camp it was the final session of a campaign that they had been playing for 10 years.
Yeah.
So it was a big deal. So it was a very big deal kind of thing, and it was like really the culmination of like a decade's worth of adventure. And so they did a like a commemorative. They sent their characters off in a I'm sure a beautiful and memorable way, and but yeah, people do trips like that for D&D as well. Makes me pine for our D&D league that we
Well,
or
you
D&D
you
campaign
you
for the past.
famously you did a D&D trip. You came down to Houston to play
I guess that's
D&D.
true. We did, and we did. Yeah, we parlayed that into a New Orleans trip as well.
All right, 7 picks until your turn.
Yeah, I'm on the board. My name's coming up once
So
again.
maybe
I'm
if you want to,
looking. Yeah,
yeah,
what do you
what do you?
think? What do you think?
Well, I was going to say if you change the list to all players, and we'll
Yeah.
see who's kind of best available right now.
Okay.
And
So
so probably not going to get any of these guys.
let's bring it down to pick 6 here.
Yeah. Um, you
Another
need a
Houston receiver. Another receiver. I don't know.
T.
What do you?
Higgins is
Higgins is
good, but
really good. He's really good. He had a
Kamara
great
scares the
season.
crap out of me. Aaron Jones isn't
Oh,
James Conner. I love James Conner. He's on my team. I think that could be a great pickup.
Kamara just went off the board, so someone just took him. So
Oh boy.
I like T Higgins. I just feel like I'm a little receiver heavy at this point. I only have
I
one
think
running back.
James Conner, Aaron Jones are really solid running back picks.
I would agree. I would agree, and I would be happy. I think with either one of them. So I'm thinking. You think I should lean toward Connor? I'm leaning toward Connor.
I'm biased. He's on my team. I picked him out. I think, like I said, he's clearly the number one guy. He's been great. Little injury history, which is good. The only difference is going to be they have a young guy behind him, which is always scary. As long as he stays healthy, this is going to be a high production offense. And so between Connor and Jones getting older, we don't really know what Minnesota is going to look like as an offense.
Mm-hmm.
I like Connor, but I think Aaron Jones would do you just fine.
And there goes James Conner.
Oh, they're listening. They know
I think
that
they're listening. I
sucks.
think they are. Yeah. All right. So Connor now off the board. That one hurt. Let's look at Anthony Richardson off the board. Let's look at uh I don't know, Sean. What do you think? I mean, at this point, if I take another receiver, that's my bench. They're cutting into my bench. What if should I go rogue here? Is it too early to take a defense?
Yes, it is way too
It
early
is
to take a defense.
okay. You're right.
That would be lunacy.
You're right. It's too
Um,
early for a defense.
yeah, I mean, if you
What about Najee
filter,
Harris?
can you filter by just running backs, and we'll take a look at who the sort of top available are here. So you've got, they say Jones. I wouldn't take Mostert because you have half of Miami already. Najee Harris, Zamir White's interesting. Javonte Williams is interesting, but you're kind of getting at the bottom of the barrel. I
Mm-hmm.
think Najee's not a bad pick.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a bad pick at all.
Yeah. No, now we're getting into like who territory. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
some of
little
these are
bit.
not great.
I think I think I'm gonna go Najee if
Oh, Ma says Tyjae Spears,
Spears.
who's down a little bit. I think it would be
Spears.
awfully early to take him. He might be available next
Yeah.
time around.
I have the back to back. So should I just do
Well, I don't know about that, but if you
Najee?
look, we're on pick 59. His average draft position, what was this? If you scroll down, it'll say his average draft position. His
Yeah.
average draft position is 106. I think
Yeah.
it's way too early. I like Najee Harris. I think that's a good pick.
All right. I don't want to go against your mom here, but
Well, you can take Spears later.
yeah. I'll you know what? I'm gonna add Spears to my short list.
Oh, you're gonna star him.
Star him. He's starred. And then I'm gonna take Najee here. Okay.
Now you've got a pick coming up here quickly. Lots of and then after that, you're on your bench. So you can go wide receiver, you can go running back. If we look at best available here, Zay Flowers, I think, would be a good pickup. T. Higgins would be a good pickup.
Yeah. I think here I'm gonna go Higgins.
I like Higgins. I think
a lot.
Cincinnati's going to be hot this year. A lot of people think they're going to win the Super Bowl.
I'm gonna take Higgins right here.
Nice.
All right.
Nice. And it's good because his bye week is very helpful for you.
Yes. So now I'm just about complete. I still need a tight end, a kicker, and a defense.
So I'm thinking your next back to back, in my opinion, would be in either direction, a tight end and then um a wide receiver running back, whoever's best available.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Fantasy Mom says defense next. I think it is way too early to be taking a defense in the eighth or ninth round, especially with this deep of a draft. Nobody's nobody's gonna. Who paused the draft?
Yeah. See, I've never seen that. I didn't know you could pause.
Anyone can.
We've
Or
got
no, I'm sorry. Only the commissioner can.
10 seconds until draft resumes. Okay.
Oh, that's a strange one.
Okay, it's back now. I don't know what happened there, but okay. Yeah, didn't even know that was possible. So now we got some commenting about the draft pausing. Um all right. So so your mom says defense next.
Yeah.
All right. Uh
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, you're at a huge disadvantage with this back-to-back picking at the end of the rounds
yeah.
because you just have such a huge gap. You really got to gamble on what you think people are going to do.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Okay, so the reason that the draft was paused, it looks like they changed the timer down. They dropped it down to 60 minutes.
Yeah,
60
it's
seconds, 60-second rounds instead of
instead of 90, which is good.
yep,
90 is too long.
as we're later in the draft. Yeah.
Doesn't help us doing a talk show about it, but
No,
maybe for everyone
that's
else.
really this is kind of like we're on a little bit of a harder difficulty here, but that's we're pros, Sean. We're used to this. So we work through adversity every week. Um so I like um I like the idea of having a defense. I think for my money it might be a little bit too early. Um
Well, why don't we take a look at a must fill position for you, tight end? Who's
yeah,
sort of our
let's take a
best
look at that.
available right
Let's take a
now?
look at tight ends here.
So you got Evan Ingram,
Mhm.
Jake Ferguson, David Njoku, Dallas Goddard. My opinion, it kind of falls off. Brock Bowers is really interesting rookie. Kind of falls off after that.
Yeah. Obviously my biased opinion here is drawing me to Goddard as a Birds fan, but
I mean, you do have to have at least one Eagles player.
I really should. I really should, and I don't. And this, I was kind of hoping to get Elliott, the kicker, Jake Elliott, but
Yep, he's
um,
awesome. I
he's
rode
really
him to
really
a
good.
championship last year.
He's gonna be. I'm gonna star him because I he's one of my favorite players out there. So, um, but yeah. So hopefully he'll be. If I have to take a lone eagle, um, I feel I wouldn't feel hurt by making it be Elliott. So
You could do a lot worse.
yeah, I like Goddard. I think he kind of. I mean, he's kind of got the veteran tight end status on that team now, but Philly doesn't go to the tight end that much. It's not. It's not like a. I feel like it's not a big. Yeah, see, high value touches are at a premium in Philadelphia, where QB Jalen Hurts always gets a ton of goal line carries and
Yeah, that's
downs.
the thing.
They don't go tight end in the end zone.
Goddard will get yards, but touchdowns,
Yeah,
man,
yeah,
that was my. I had AJ Brown last year, who did great, but it drove me crazy every time Hurts, ran it in or whatever.
So it looks like the top ranked pick for tight end that's currently available is Evan Engram
Yep.
from Jacksonville, and I
Yeah.
think that's decent. I don't know. Does Jacksonville? I'm sure they probably will utilize their tight end space. I mean, there's no guarantee he's going to be on the board when they come back to me, but
No, and
um,
Jacksonville doesn't really have any rock star receivers. I mean, solid
mhm,
guys, but no like obvious home run.
yeah,
So I think that's where the tight end role comes in. Yeah, he's great. I think you got to look at which team does the quarterback rely on that tight end. Jake Ferguson is that for Dak Prescott. He really does rely on him. Ingram, maybe not as much. Someone like Travis Kelce really heavily relied on.
yeah, yeah. We've also got Jake Ferguson, tight end on Dallas. David
Njoku's
Njoku.
very good. He's one of the most athletic tight ends in the league.
He is. Yeah.
He's fast.
I was gonna say he's almost got like running back or receiver build too. Like he's kind of the complete. He's that really happy combination of a receiver. He's got the speed, the hands of the receiver, the speed of the running back. He's got high upside as a tight end. So
But he's got team problems this year. He played well under Flacco last year. Deshaun Watson's back, and they picked up Jerry Jeudy. He's going to take away some of his targets. So you give and you take. He'll be a solid guy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a couple of
Matt,
interesting picks. Yeah.
why don't we take a look at the overall best available right now?
Okay.
Kind of see where we're at. So you got players. You got Deontay Johnson. You got Calvin Ridley, Chris Godwin, Javonte Williams. So some interesting options.
There goes Evan Ingram.
Let's see, who else do we have? Anyone's really sticking out? This is where drafts are made.
This is true. I was gonna say this is 100% where drafts are made. 100%. Is it? Should I go Spears? Like, I mean, I feel like I could probably get him in the next round. Confidently, fairly confidently. I mean, Calvin Ridley's still on the board. Chris Godwin.
Yeah, but you gotta look at how many of these players are quarterbacks, and everyone only needs one. But I agree with you. It'll be tight to get Spears. But again, I don't know if it's who do you take instead? Like which of these guys is really gonna looking up here? I can pick out some names I think are really interesting. But I don't think there are any slam dunks. I think Brian Robinson Jr. is interesting.
How about Javonte Williams?
He's projected to have a good season, but it's there's not a lot of history there.
Yeah, Denver's kind of in a rebuild, right? A little bit of a mess, sort of.
I'm not really a Godwin guy. Keenan Allen, don't know. Smith and Jig was supposed to have an up season, so there is that. Singletary is a very interesting pick. I think he could have a good season.
Yeah,
but at that point, if you're that far down, you could just go a little farther and take Spears. So,
true. I mean, I want to get my tight end here.
Let's look at the tight ends here. You got some great choices. I think Ferguson's great. I think Njoku's great. Or you can go with Goddard and get your Philadelphia guy. I think any of those three, they're pretty close.
I'm really leaning toward Njoku on this one. I think I like Goddard of most of all, but I don't think he's going to get the yards. But we kind of established he might not get the touchdown, the scoring. So I'm going to go Njoku.
Love it.
Yeah,
that's great. Now, where do we go next?
Next up, let's take a look. We can start building our bench.
Yeah, let's look at just running backs.
Yeah. Okay.
And see who we have at the top here.
All right. So we got this is probably the chance for Spears. I think.
Yeah, I think out of that list,
I think Spears is an interesting pick because they're going to be missing the King, right? King Henry.
They're going to be missing Derrick Henry. That's right. The only thing is they brought in Tony Pollard.
Yes, they did. So Spears is going to be sharing some time. You know, I'm not here to disappoint anyone's mom.
No, Matt, it's your team, man. You got to like who you pick.
I really don't have. I don't really.
Oh no! Hang on, stop! Don't click yet because she just said Moss. Now she wants Moss on Cincinnati
over Spears.
She's sending me one words, Matt. It just said Moss.
Does she know Spears is still available?
She's watching.
But we've also got Devin Singletary.
I like Singletary, actually. I wish he were on my team. I think he's going to have a really great season.
I kind of like the Singletary option as well. I think he's going to have a pretty good season too.
So that would be my pick.
All right, I took
So,
I took single.
all right.
Sorry,
Sorry, Ma.
I'm sorry,
Sorry.
Sean's mom.
Yeah,
I
we
took
won't. We won't.
Singletary.
Oh,
I don't know, old habits. Watching the Giants for years, I think their quarterback is terrible, so they're probably going to run a lot. That's
and
where
Singletary's a good. He's good. He's talented.
I'm of that mentality of if the team has a bad quarterback, they're going to try to rely on the running game a lot. They're going to be missing Saquon this year. I think
Yeah,
a lot of those old plays I think are still drawn for him.
I
So
like it.
I think that I have a feeling Singletary is going to get a lot of touches if he
Now,
stays healthy.
we did just have the first defense come off the board. San Francisco at the 85th pick.
Yes,
So
I
maybe
wasn't going to take them anyway.
in the next back to back, maybe we do want to think about one of them being a defense potentially.
Let's take a look at our defenses. Baltimore, the Ravens have a very strong defense at
Well, they always have. It's what they're known for.
right behind them. Here come the New York Jets, the
They
New
were great last
Jersey
year.
Jets. Yeah, they had an excellent year, especially defensive. I mean, they had an excellent year defensively and not so much offensively, but um, I think a lot. That's the thing with defenses, and that's why I picked them late. Is just that I feel like there's a lot of really good options, and like you can't get wrong. Like even if you go down here with like Buffalo, that defense isn't that bad. Like
Yeah, I mean, I think
Philly's defense, like I don't
I,
know.
I wouldn't go any lower than like Houston on this list. Like if you get one of the top 8 defenses, top 10, and by the way, it's only 10-person league, you're going to be fine.
You're gonna be fine. Yeah, exactly. Can't go wrong there. So we've got some time before we draft. What do you think of the Chicago Bears' new logo? The bear.
That's not new. They've had that for years.
It's not brand new. It's a couple years, right? A couple years.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not like brand new. But what do you think of this logo?
I think it's fine.
Yeah. Do you
I
do
don't
you
I don't
do you prefer the big C logo?
I know. That's one of the word listen, I have many complaints about baseball.
Yeah.
We don't have enough time for my complaints about baseball, but maybe one of my top complaints is how horribly boring all of their letter only logos are. They suck, and I don't like them.
Yes. I'm kind of in agreement a little bit with that. I think that they could do the biggest affront to me is the you've got like the Minnesota Twins and the Cleveland Guardians have almost the exact same concept when it comes to uniform, like to jersey design and color,
Yep.
and they play in the same division. Like you would think there should be like a little bit of variety. I think that the color schemes. I definitely think other like pretty much all the other sports win out when it comes to color schemes. And I think that's part of why baseball released the City Connect jerseys
Yeah.
because those color palettes are so boring and it's red, white, and blue recycled and reused in different ways and with very slight variations. Um,
Well, that's
but
one of the things I like about the NBA is they really do go pretty wild with the different styles, the city editions,
yeah,
the different logos. They do have a lot of fun with it.
yeah, I don't mind the new design. I celebrate that. I personally the one logo I wish actually there's a few, but or I wish the Patriots kept their old logo, the one from the 80s. The
Yeah.
was Patriot Tom? What was his name? Patriot Pat. He had a name. I like that one. It's a guy. It's like a guy, a football guy who has like a tricorner hat. I like that logo. I also like the old Miami Dolphins. I think the old Miami Dolphins with the angry dolphin with the helmet. Thought that was a much better logo than their new one.
Well, and that's I just don't like the old like the Packers and the Bears and all those original teams where it's like it's okay to change. You don't even the Cowboys where it's like we get it, but like have some fun.
You could have a little fun. Yeah, you could have a little pizzazz. No fun league. There
I
goes
love
Justin
the
Tucker, first kicker off the board.
man. Now this is getting serious.
Yes, this is where drafts are made, Sean. I'm getting worried. My boy Jake Elliott. He's if kickers are going to start going, I
We'll
think
take them.
I gotta have at least one Eagle on here.
I listen. I would have no problem with you taking him.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I might want to snag a defense first. Is this the special teams round? Is this a defense special teams round? Because I'm gonna be back to back.
Um, would I use both picks on defense and kickers? I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe one. I guess you just got to see who the best available is at the other positions.
Yeah, I think if I don't get Elliott this round, I think my chances of getting him are slim because he is already third on this list.
Y- yeah, I think you got to make a call, kicker or defense, which is your bigger priority.
Okay. Logic tells me it should be defense because I think there's far more points in it for me.
Yeah, but the thing about every team has a defense, and there's not that big of a difference between the top defense and the bottom defense,
Can
and
I?
you can swap them out. It's so matchup
Yeah, I was
dependent.
gonna say. I feel like I rarely end the season with the defense that I started with. Like that
But
doesn't happen that often.
the thing about kickers is
Mhm.
they're reliable.
They are.
You're kind of
Get a good
locking in
kicker.
those points every week. Like I said, I had Jake Elliott last year. I don't know if he was the number one fantasy kicker, but he was definitely way up there. And I couldn't have won the championship without him.
Mhm. True story.
I had the Eagles defense too. I had AJ Brown, Elliott, and the Eagles defense. And we had a pretty good year.
Yeah. Hey, got that's the Philly trifecta right there, except for Hertz. I had Hertz last year. I think he was Hertz was really good for me. Like I said, my central guy was Hill, Tyreek Hill for sure. Um, two picks away. I think I am going to snag Elliott here. I'm a little worried that he's going to go before I'm ready.
Do it.
I'm going to take him, and then I'm gonna follow that up with the backup receiver or running back. What do you think? Is it worth getting a second quarterback?
Eventually.
Okay,
I don't think that would be almost one of your last
last
picks.
ones, yeah, because they're
Um,
hopefully you won't really need them.
yeah, and not everyone's even going to take a second quarterback.
We got
All
Elliott.
right. Elliott off the board.
Here comes pick 100.
Wow, I can't believe it. Round 10, heading into round 11. Matt, can we get a look at the best available?
Jake Ferguson, Dallas tight end, is pick number 100 in the draft. All available. Looks like Brian Thomas.
Mm.
Tyjae Spears is still on there. I could see him.
Whoa,
I could see
whoa,
him.
and Moss.
And Moss. Both of them are still on there. I'll take either one. Let's make it. Let's leave it up to your mom.
Cincinnati's going to have more offense than Tennessee. That would be my only thing.
Mhm.
Now Moss is splitting. He's not the clear number one guy, but he's kind of a little. I like Moss. That would be my pick over Spears.
There's no conflict with bye weeks, so I could take really either one because he's so we're leaning toward Moss a little bit on this one.
Uh, that
Uh huh.
I would lean toward. Well, boy, both guys are competing for their spots with another guy. It's a
Mm-hmm.
it's a toss up.
Yeah, I'll go Moss. Got him. Zach Moss.
Love it. Great couple picks there, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I'm loving this bench.
So
Look at this
far,
bench.
I'm
T. Higgins,
yeah.
Singletary, and Moss. That's a great bench.
That is a really good bench.
Now, Matt, since we got next now, your
Yeah.
next turn. Let me ask you about your waiver strategy. Now, as I mentioned last year, I had more waiver moves than anyone else. I love tweaking my team. I'm never satisfied. I'm always scoping out who's available, what's the latest. Are you a big waiver guy, or you like to kind of just sit and let your team do their thing?
I'm a little bit too much of a waiver guy. I think I like ad dropping. I also play in a fantasy baseball league, and I'm kind of notorious for that. for tweaking a lot. I mean, there's like I'm my core philosophy kind of goes against this. My core philosophy with a team, Sean, is I believe in the idiom, you got to dance with the one who brought you,
Yeah.
right? So I'm my core players, like the ones that obviously if they're like your Strouds, your Hills, your Cup, I'm not going to touch them.
Right.
But if the, I'm definitely open to tweaking or to modifying my lineup if things aren't working. If players aren't producing consistently, if I see it from them like week after week. Fantasy football is a little different than baseball. Like fantasy baseball, you can measure that success every day because baseball is pretty much played every
Right.
day. But in football, I guess it's a little bit less with football. A little bit less with football because there are fewer games. It's over a longer period of time. I'll follow the news mostly, and I'll kind of read the tea leaves. And if a player is getting upstaged by a second string, or if they're losing time, that happened to me a lot early on. Is as soon as teams started doing that split backfield, um, I got very majorly screwed over one year by the Patriots doing that.
Yeah.
Just they went with like a three-man backfield and just absolutely obliterated my lead running back spot. And in that case, I'd be fine with cutting bait and then kind of tweaking a little bit. I don't know. What's your take on that?
I think it's useful. One of the things when I first signed up for the league I'm in and saw we had 4 bench spots instead of 6, I was concerned because I said, oh, that's going to suck. I love it because what it means is there's more players available and less players being stashed on people's benches. 4 bench spots is hard. It really limits your flexibility. So you have to be more aggressive on the waiver, I feel, and make tougher decisions. But ultimately, you can't win if your team is the same on the day you drafted as the day you finish the league. You just can't win that way. That's not how the NFL works. So having the wherewithal to get in, to me, that's the fun part of fantasy football is tweaking the team every week.
Hmm.
If it was a set it and forget it league, I wouldn't enjoy it. So that's fun. Now we got 7 picks until you return, Matt. I see here you're looking at defenses.
I am. I'm glancing at defenses here. I've just noticed like Baltimore just went. I think the Jets went right before. Yep.
Yep.
And so some defenses for 49ers went earlier in the draft. So I think might be time. I don't know. I mean, we said before, really like Buffalo, Minnesota, Philly. These are lower on the tier list, but would I be happy to have any of them? Yeah,
Oh,
I
sure.
would. So I mean, I look at bye weeks a lot with defenses. Like Philly's got an early bye week. It's week 5. But I don't have a lot of conflicts that week. Um, if you get a later, I don't know, how about this? If you get a team with a later bye week, you could always drop them, or rather, like a later bye week, you could always drop them. Add drop. I mean, defenses are very interchangeable, Sean. That's kind of what I'm getting at here. I feel like they're not. You just got to go with a good one. You can't go with a terrible one. Like
Well, and I will warn you though, Matt. Don't forget you've got Jake Elliott on Philadelphia as well. So if you take the Philadelphia defense, you're going to have them both out on the same week,
that is very true. It's
and that's
very
going to limit
valid.
on two positions that traditionally have low flexibility.
Very true. I think maybe then Kansas City is, for my money, the one that I think is speaking to me on this
It's a
list.
great defense.
Yeah, I mean, there's Miami.
Don't sleep on Cleveland. They were the number 1 or 2 defense last year.
They were.
They're going to be scary.
They were. Yeah. Um, I really don't want to take Dallas. I don't ever want to root for
Don't.
them, so I don't want them to do good things. There's always the option of focusing on the bench a little bit more. Well, I've got the back-to-back picks, so we can do both. We can do both here.
Now, of course, my mother, we'll call her Michelle because that's her name. Um, she's a massive Kansas City fan. Her favorite team. She loves Patrick Mahomes. She just messaged me, "Love my KC." You'll be her favorite person if you take the Kansas City defense.
All right. Well, you know what? I feel like I may have wronged her in the past from for snubbing one of her picks earlier. So But now that I'm looking at it, though, I've got that's the same bye week as Hill and Cup.
as everybody else.
Yeah, you know what? That is just a big bye week around the league, right? Yeah,
Yeah, but if you took Cleveland week 10, you have no conflicts.
Cleveland is pretty good. I'm gonna go KC. I mean, they've got
Ah,
that's a great
fuck it.
defense.
That's
That's
what they say.
that is a great defense. That is a solid defense. Yeah, Kansas City. Kansas City defense. Now I've got my back-to-back picks here. Um, let's go to all players. What do you think, Shaun? We got some good options here.
Um, let's see. Rashid Shaheed's interesting. Khalil Shakir is interesting. Joshua Palmer. I think people are sleeping on him. The Chargers have no wide receivers. It's crazy how bad their receiver room is. And Joshua Palmer, while not the best player, he's probably going to be their number one guy. So I don't think that's a bad pick. Um,
Sure.
at
Why
all.
not? I think no buy conflict. Sure. Joshua Palmer, welcome aboard.
It's that easy. So now we're down. So you've got just two more picks left.
Just two picks left. So I think our mission here should be to grab a whoops. I think our plan here should be to grab a uh backup quarterback.
Absolutely. We can see
All
who's
right.
still available.
And there's a lot of great options here, I think. I find Aaron Rodgers to be the most interesting on this list.
Certainly a boomer bust candidate.
A lot of boomer busts. Kirk Cousins, another
Yep.
good
Stafford. I
contender.
mean, he's had great
Matt
years. He was
Stafford.
over 4,000 yards last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some
Or
really
no, he's
solid
just
options.
under. Yeah.
Solid options at QB. Justin Herbert.
For my money, based on who, by the way, I do have to point out there was someone in my draft who took Taysom Hill in the third round. I almost killed him. That was one of the most insane picks I've ever seen in my entire life. And I like Taysom Hill. He's a fun guy, but that's crazy. I really, if you're going to do backup quarterbacks, my pick for what it's worth is Matthew Stafford. He's got some of the best receivers in the league in Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. It's a highly talented team. It's going to have a ton of offense. There are people talking they could make the Super Bowl this year. And he regularly is throwing for 4,000 yards a season. So that would be my pick.
Yeah, that's a valid one. I'm going to star him. If he's not on the board, though, Shaun, Aaron Rodgers is right there.
Listen, he's a backup. So if it doesn't work, you just drop him and move on
That's
with your
true.
life.
I just it would just be fun to have them around. So I think we're set then, and then we got one more after that. So we've got our back to back, our last back to back of the 2024 draft. And I think we're gonna go. Let's see what we got. So we have on our bench. There's two running backs. The 2 and 2. We've got two running backs, two receivers on the bench. We've got a receiver in the flex. So do you think we should do another running back? Balance it out?
At this point, for me, it's best available.
Okay.
You're at the bottom of your bench. I'm
Yeah,
not as worried about balance at this point.
that's fair. That's fair. What do we think of Khalil Shakir,
Uh,
Buffalo receiver?
Interesting. The Buffalo wide receiver room is a mess this year. You got Shakir, you've got Keon Coleman, and there's another guy who I'm not even remembering. It's kind of a mess, and you don't know who it's going to go to. I think Shakir is interesting. I certainly wouldn't like automatically bypass him. I think Daubs is really interesting. Again, a lot of receivers there, but he's got good chemistry with Jordan Love.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting one.
And Keon Coleman's available, who I took on my team. He's for sure a gamble. But if he becomes Allen's favorite receiver, you're going to do well.
Yeah. I mean, and this is all a lot of this is all it's bench. It's who knows if they're even going to be, how far they're going to be out there. If you're going to even use them in the season. I mean, you just always got to make sure the bye weeks don't conflict. And it looks like they're good. So, yeah, a lot of interesting choices out there for our remaining teams. I think I'm gonna move Stafford first, but then I think, yeah, if I'll do Coleman. Coleman's interesting to me. If as a second pick, and we'll see if he gets picked. My other backup, Dobbs.
Yep,
Yeah,
Dobbs. I think
Dobbs.
again the odds either of these guys are still on your team at the end of the season.
Yeah,
Who knows?
yeah. This is like you're just taking kind of rolling the dice a little bit on these options, but uh yeah, we've got some time. I wanted to thank you, Shaun, and thank your mom for attending the 2024 fantasy draft, all the viewers at home as well.
Oh
Thank
my
you guys
goodness.
for helping me and sticking it out with me on what should have been the first week of Shaun-tember, the first official Shaun-tember show. I forgot that my draft was happening the same night, so scheduling conflict. But I'm really glad that we could. I'm really glad that we could um, change the plan on the fly like this. This was cool.
Oh my god, I've always wanted to be a football broadcaster. So
Yeah,
it's been a lot of fun. And I fingers crossed this works out for you because we're all going to be rooting for you. Hopefully we steered you in the right direction. But this was great, and we're going to be back next week with we're going to be back next week with more
with tea,
tea.
with
It's
lots of
tea
tea,
time, baby. I
lots of
got my
tea
tea. I
time.
got my carafes.
Yes,
Um,
super
I'm
excited.
I am rocking and ready to go.
We're gonna enter the tea world.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited.
Yeah. After this is over, I'm gonna go and watch the latest episode of Only Murders in the Building. Shaun, are you a fan?
Never seen it.
Ah, I
Never
think
seen it. I
I
know.
think you would enjoy it. I think you would enjoy the show. It's kind of a little bit of a mystery kind of show. I recommend it. It's been very nice. Um, they're entering the latest season. The episodes come out on Tuesday nights. Um, couldn't watch last night, of course, because there was a conflict with the season finale of The Bachelorette. So I was
Oh
watching.
boy, and I know you are a big fan.
Big fan, big fan. So conflict, a little bit of a conflict with that. But so tonight, Only Murders in the Building is what we'll be watching.
Nice. Yeah, I always am trying to get the most out of my Hulu subscription.
Hmm.
So I think maybe someday I'll have to check that out.
Yes. No, you should. I think you would. I think you really would. If you're a fan of Steve Martin and Martin Short and Selena Gomez somehow also is pretty funny in the show. So
Does it make me a bad person if I'm very tired of Steve Martin and Martin Short? I'm kind
how
of
could you be
over that.
tired? How could you be tired of Steve
They,
Martin and
they've kind
he's
of been
two of
like
the three
too
amigos, Sean?
they've been too much everywhere.
Two of the three amigos minus Chevy Chase.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know about that.
Wow.
Um,
All of my picks were eviscerated, Sean. I'm down to just Dobbs.
you can't wait. You can't wait.
No.
Not with these sharks.
Yeah. Yeah, right before me, I think Coleman went. And all right. So it's yeah, I guess Dobbs it is. He'll be my final pick in the draft. And
Noise.
although there's a little Q over here, questionable. I mean, that always comes up. I think he's going to be all right.
Yeah. No, I think he'll be fine.
I agree.
Hopefully.
Drafted and done.
Wow. What
There
a
you
slam
have
dunk.
it.
Well, Matt, Yahoo will follow up in the next hour with a score of how
Yeah.
your draft went. You'll have to report back to us on what the computer thought you did.
Sean, I historically get very low grades. No matter who I pick or how or in what order, I historically get very poor draft grades. But I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted. I won, like I said, I won the entire league last year with the best record, and I think I was ranked like seventh or eighth of a 10. I'm not even joking. I think I was eighth of a 10-person league.
It doesn't mean anything.
So the draft grade is a joke, is my point. Yahoo is a joke, and so is the draft grade.
Well, that's true in general, yes.
Yeah. It amazes me that we still use this platform after all these years for fantasy sports, but that seems to be like kind of all that Yahoo has left. It's just fantasy sports leagues. Now, the real important question here, Shaun.
Yes.
I will also report back this. I'm going to need to form a team name based on a player on this list, and I've got some really great options here, especially with T. Higgins. There's room for that. There's also great for
Walker
Stroud,
this way.
Walker, Cup. There's just I picked. There's a gold mine. It's an absolute gold mine for naming conventions here. Um, it might give me my rank as soon as the draft is over. You want to stick around and find out? We're on the last pick.
Yeah. Let's see what it says.
If it does, I might have to.
I don't know what is a standings where it says standings, or is that something else?
Oh no, this is okay.
So by projected stats. Now this is not a head-to-head projection, but third in points earned.
Third in points earned. Yeah. All right.
That's impressive.
Good stuff. Good stuff, Shaun. All right. I'm very, very pleased with my team here.
A treat, Matt. Ton of fun. Kickoffs tomorrow night. We'll be watching and enjoying. But until then, we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on this fantasy football edition of Shaun-tember here on Up for Debate. We appreciate you being here. And we'll see you next time for a tea-tastic, food-thrilling edition of another Up for Debate.